All right, welcome back everyone to our journey through Dr. Dave Regis's free ebook, Chess Tactics and Combinations, 10 Steps to Learn Them. And we are back, I don't know, maybe just over halfway through now. And today's 5 games come from a chapter titled From Bad to Worse. So this is where one of the players is going to get themselves into a mess and then make things even worse, I would imagine. Of course, I do this live. I just sort of read the book and play the moves as we go along. So let's see what disasters befall some of our players today. So our first game is a 1996 correspondence game, so played by post. Now, I've said before, you'd think if you were playing by post, it would be difficult when you have that much time to think about the moves to make any blunders, but apparently not, because some of these games have had some interesting moves in, shall we say. Let's see how this one goes. So head against Bladek. E4, E5. Knight f3, knight c6, bishop c4, knight f6, d4, e takes d4, knight to g5, bishop to b4, check, bishop to d2 to block the check, bishop takes, check again, knight takes, and this is absolutely fine. Black is -1 here, so black is okay. This is slightly better for black. Remember, minus scores indicate computer thinks black's a bit better. So black's very happy with this. But then d6, and I think the computer's probably going to leap the other way here. Yeah, d6 is a bit of a mistake. I wonder if it says black should play d5 out of curiosity, or castle. Now, d5's third on the list, castles is top, so my 2 suggestions aren't bad anyway. But d6 is not one of them. So advantage given back to white. And the reason is because the reason is because d6 does nothing about this square. It's always this tender f7 square. And so knight takes f7. Now this is attacking the black queen, and it's attacking the black rook. So it's a fork, and of course the bishop's defended by the knight. So this is a mess, and black is just going to have to move their queen, really, and just accept the rook is gone, and that's just how it is. Nothing you can do about it. But what they actually tried in the game was to counterattack. So their own queen was attacked, so black played bishop to g4 to attack the white queen. And this just runs into the move f3, which not only blocks the attack, but now means not only these 2 pieces are excuse me, having a nightmare with the arrows. These 2 pieces attacked, but now so's the bishop. So black has actually got 3 pieces, what's called emprise, under attack in chess, and is obviously just going to lose material. So, okay, let's carry on. Definitely that previous game was an example of watch out for the weakness of f7 or f2. Right, second game, we have Wall against Burton. This player Wall, we must have seen half a dozen times going through these games. And this is from Wichita Falls in 1971, so it's in the USA. E4, E5, knight f3, knight c6, d4, ed4, knight d4. Knight d4 from black's not the best move against this opening, but it's not completely awful, but it's not the best. Queen takes d4, knight f6, bishop to c4, bishop to e7, and e5. So black's knight is attacked, and you would think it has to move somewhere, and actually it should move somewhere, but black tries something else here. So instead of dealing with the attack on the knight, black plays c5 to threaten the white queen. But as you can see, suddenly this is +2 and a bit, almost +3. Why? What on earth is the issue here? So if you want to press pause here and see if you can find the best move for white, then please do so in a sec. All I would say is this is quite a tricky one to find. But it involves a possible checkmate threat and a pin. So maybe that's a clue. So press pause now. Otherwise, I'll carry on in 3, 2, and 1. And the very quiet move, queen to f4, actually wins a piece. Now, why? Well, first of all, the queen and the bishop are lined up to f7. So this knight is now pinned. If you move the knight, this is checkmate, because the bishop protects the queen. And of course, if you don't move the knight, white's just going to take it next move. So I would guess the best you can do as black here is probably just castle, pawn takes, bishop takes, and then you can see, yeah, black has an extra pawn, but white has an entire extra knight and a good level of chess, a whole extra piece. Yeah, pretty bad times if you're playing with the black pieces here. Okay, let's get to our third game. And we have a name that I'm struggling to pronounce here, Tuvshinkt against Croisa. I actually genuinely don't know how to pronounce these two at all. Yeah, so Tuvshinkt and Croisa, maybe? I don't know. And as for where it was played, Szeged. Thank you, Dr. Dave, for that one. Yeah, I didn't know how to pronounce any of those. Anyway, it looks like it's an under-12s tournament from 1994. So let's have a look and see how this game went. E4, E5, knight F3, knight C6, D4, ED4, bishop C4. So Scotch gambit, we've given up a pawn in the middle of the board, at least temporarily, for quick development. Knight to A5, so threatening the bishop. Queen takes D4, wins back the pawn. Knight takes, queen takes. So pretty level, give or take. Certainly at junior and intermediate level, 0.5 is nothing really. Knight F6 from black. Bishop to G5, I was just going to say that looks like an invitation to pin the knight. And sure enough, bishop to G5 was played. Bishop to E7 is logical to break the pin. Castles and castles. Okay. So we've got a position so level-ish, nothing much to write home about, say at this is fine, you know, half a pawn. So it says. Now E5 from white. So attacking the knight. And then Dr. Dave puts the comment, black now chases the white queen to a place that she wants to go. So let's see what happens here. So a bit like in the last game, instead of defending the knight, or moving the knight, I should say, black just chooses to attack the queen. You can see this is a mistake because suddenly it's nearly +3. Queen to H4. Okay. H6 from black, so now attacking the bishop. So again, instead of defending the knight, black chooses to attack a different piece. This time, white calls the bluff. Pawn takes, knight. Pawn takes, bishop takes, and F5. So opening up an attack on the, oops, not there because that would be cheating. Opening up an attack on the queen, and queen to G3 simply wins at this point. So exactly as Dr. Dave's comment was halfway through the game, black just messes around chasing the white queen to a place she actually wants to go. And why there? Well, the threat is to this square, and there's just nothing you can really do about it. I would guess you would have to put the bishop in the way. And then I'm feeling slightly lazy, but I'm thinking probably bishop takes, threatening the queen is going to be okay. And then you move the queen. If you move there, there's probably better moves than there because that's just mate in 2. Discovered check and mate. But anyway, who cares? The point is that black gets into, or got into, an absolutely frightful mess after playing D5. What should they do here? Just move the knight somewhere, presumably. Is it going to be knight to E8? Maybe knight H5? Knight D5. Of course, knight D5 is okay as well. There's my suggestion. Knight E8's the best move. Yeah, my suggestion there. I'm quite pleased. But knight D5 is quite good because if you play queen takes, you actually get this, and that turns out into quite a level position as well. Okay. What's next? We've got 2 more for this video. And our next game is called Right and Wrong. And we've got Detroit. We're in Detroit, Michigan in the USA, the Detroit Championship 1974. Mazuchowski against Good. Okay, let's see how this game goes. So E4 and, oh, turn the lines off unless we need them. E5. Knight to F3, knight to C6, D4, E takes D4, bishop C4. Okay, very similar to last time, but a deviation from black, different. Bishop c5. c3, so white is now sacrificing a full pawn to try to speed up their development. Black says, no thank you, castles and castles. And at this point, white tries to take their pawn back, which is fine. There's two pieces attacking d4, two defenders, so this pawn is perfectly safe to recapture. And in fact, the computer already says white's got a very pleasant game here. So what do we get? Black now decides not to dodge, but to counterattack. So the point being, we've attacked the bishop. Instead of moving the bishop, which is probably the best move, black tries to play something to attack a white piece. So knight to a5. Let's see. A computer immediately says that's not very good. I had a feeling that would be the case. Now, white just moves the bishop out of the way. Leaving the c5 bishop attacked. And again, instead of moving the bishop, black tries something else. Now, the move that's tried is d5. That doesn't immediately look like it saves the piece, but the idea is that if you play here and then here, black actually gets the piece back because of a fork. That was the idea that black had, but in fact, white simply ignores this, does nothing about this whatsoever, and just plays the move e5. And now the bishop's still attacked, and the knight's attacked, and of course, there's no way for black to save both pieces. So that's quite an interesting one. There we go. So, oops. Okay, we have one last game for this video, and we have Angerman against Morgado, a correspondence game from 1969, and black wins this one. So we'll flip the board and see where we go. And I'm a happy man because my pet opening the Latvian Gambit is played by black and actually wins in this game. So we've got a second win in this series with the Latvian Gambit. For new players, please don't play the Latvian Gambit. It's incredibly good fun, but it's not sound. If white knows what they're doing, they'll just come out better. But it is good fun. And playing it in bullet games and blitz games when you've only got a minute each is carnage. It's great fun. Anyway, so knight to f3 is not the best way to do this. Okay, fair enough, which is why white's advantage is now non-existent and the game is basically level. So we've got to this position, f takes e4. And Dr. Dave writes here, white could move the knight, but decides to counterattack instead. This leads to a long series of blows, but in the end, black has a choice of pieces to take. Okay, let's have a look at how this goes. And this looks like there's quite a lot of complications. I think just for once, we'll put the computer on just to see what on earth is going on as we go along. So the first thing is that white's next move, move 6, isn't in the top 3 suggestions. So I think we can assume white is about to make a mistake. So instead of defending the knight or moving the knight, white chooses to attack the queen. It's defended by the knight, so the bishop is safe for the time being, but we can see immediately slight advantage to black. Queen to f5. So Dr. Dave writes here double attack, which it kind of is because the knight's threatened by the pawn, and if the knight moves, then black will be able to take this bishop. So okay, queen to e2. Clever idea from white. So now black can't play pawn takes. Look, I'm trying, it won't let me, and that's because the pawn is suddenly pinned. So queen e2 is quite a clever move. Bishop to e7. So this renews the threat because now there's no pin. The bishop's in the way. So now we're threatening pawn takes knight again. Queen to b5 check. Interesting idea that isn't really going to work. But the point is we've got this threat here. We've got a sort of a fork of the queen and the king, look, and the white queen is protected by the bishop. So, okay, so queen to b5 check. Black goes for the trade, queen takes. Bishop takes, so that's check again, but now we've got something that looks a bit similar to the previous game, actually, as it turns out. c6, bishop takes e7, knight takes e7, and actually this is now white resigns, because at the end of all of those exchanges and tactics, the bishop is attacked, the knight is, oh dear, I'm having a nightmare with the arrows, the knight is attacked, The bishop is attacked, and there's no way for white to save themselves from losing a piece. Okay, that takes us to the end of that section. So the next bit in this book is going to be on what makes a combination work. So hopefully, and I expect, the games and the combinations are going to start to get rather more tricky over the next few videos. In the meantime, thank you for watching. Hope that was enjoyable and helpful, and see you all later on for some more chess. Cheers.